everyone. We have head coach Liam Coen available. Please raise your hand if you have a question. We can start off with Jamal.
What's up, Coach? How you doing?
Good. Thank you. How are you?
Pretty good. Can you think back a little bit for me, maybe during the off season, early in the season? Was there a point when you thought to yourself, something happened, and you said, I might have something special here with this group?
I'm trying to think of anything specific. I would say in training camp, we had some pretty physical practices throughout training camp where, we got after each other pretty good in a few, because we only had the one joint, right? So we did have some more physical practices against each other. It was probably one of the more physical training camps I've been a part of in terms of being in the NFL. And that was something that I looked at the time, that nobody was complaining or like, why are we hitting? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? The guys just kept coming to work every day and practicing their tails off. And I remember at that time thinking, all right, I think this group's going to be tough, right? Like, I think this group's going to have a mindset. You're eager to see it against another opponent. But there was a time during training camp that I think, as a coaching staff, we appreciated how hard these guys practiced, how intentional they were about the work every day, and the energy they brought to practice, right? Like, it's hard to go against each other for that many days in the heat in Jacksonville, with very limited ops against going against somebody else, right? Like, you're only preseason games. Nobody complained about playing in preseason games. It was just a group at a very early stage, I think, that just didn't question. They just kept playing and just kept competing. And you don't know too much about your team at that point, but I do recall thinking that this is going to be a tough team.
Gotcha. And Coach, your motivational style, I don't know that there's a lot of coaches around the league that gets their team going quite like you do. Was there a coach that influenced you along the way? Was it the way your dad coached watching him? I mean, is there someone that influenced the way, I guess, you deal with the team, relate to the locker room, or is that just your personality coming through?
I think I've been very fortunate to have worked with or under some really good football coaches that, it all started with my dad first and foremost, just growing up at a young age, seeing tough Division III Northeast football where, they didn't have lights at their field. They parked cars and put the lights on the cars so that they could practice, in the evening. And, our family was getting cold cuts for their travel for games to go on the road and eat sandwiches. And they were getting dressed in their dorms for games. And so it was just, that was really where it all probably started. And then coaching in the Northeast for Phil Estes, Mark Whipple, and Don Brown, playing for Don Brown, a lot of these are tough, hard-nosed football coaches that, resilience, toughness, effort, all those things kind of matter. And we were never overly talented or more talented maybe than some of the teams we're always playing. And our edge needed to be, toughness and mentality. And so I think just being fortunate enough to grow up in that atmosphere and have that be my early years in coaching, having a lot of great mentors and leaders that I was able to work for.
Thanks, Liam.
Thank you.
We'll go to Mark Long, then to Mia.
Yeah, hey, Liam. Parker had 5 of his 6 catches came on third down, and you alluded to yesterday that was part of the game plan. Was that it was all matchup? You knew who he was going to be on coming out of the slot and then go from there?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
We figured, that it was a great opportunity from some of the matchups that we felt like that was beneficial for us, and that he was really feeling better coming off the injury a couple weeks back or whatever it was, that he was getting back to full strength and feeling a lot better. He had a great week of practice, and it showed out yesterday, right? So much of the run after catch, we've all seen that numerous times this season, whether it be on offense or in the punt return game. So that was a matchup thought process going into the game.
Cool. And then, is this the identity, right, of the team? Is this you taking on the identity of the franchise, or are they, the players, taking on kind of your identity in terms of this underdog role and this us against the world mentality?
I think it's probably a shared thought process, maybe, in a lot of ways, where I've voiced this before, where when we got together here, almost a year from now, whatever it's been, with a lot of these players, they voiced some of this stuff, right? Like, they voiced their desire to take the next step, and that they did feel like that there was a group of guys that had a chip on their shoulder that needed an edge, that wanted to play with an edge. And look, so many people here do want to prove something, right? There's a lot of first timers in roles. There's a lot of players that, whether it came in via free agency, the draft, whether they were here already, whatever that case is, I think it's a group of guys that, are proving something, whether it's for a contract, whether it's for wins, whatever it is. All those reasons make up our edge, and that's something that we've talked about a lot from the moment we got together, is having an edge as a team, and not really caring too much about the outside noise.
Hey, Liam, as far as the offensive line goes, now that you've had a chance to watch back the tape, what did you think of Walker stepping in at right guard? But then additionally, was the plan all week that Cole would start at left and Walker would be able to play at any position, or what kind of went on the sideline when that happened in real time?
Yeah, Cole was going into the game at left tackle. That was a testament to Walker's preparation, how smart a football player he is. For him to be able to go in at guard without any, I think he may have taken a few, I don't even know if he did take any reps at guard last week. He was just getting acclimated back in. And so, look, very proud of Walker, because that's not easy to do. He's been a left tackle, been playing on the left side, and then to go in at right guard. And, the guys, nobody flinched, nobody blinked. Very proud of him for stepping up in a major way in a huge game. That's gonna help us moving forward as a team so much, that you have guys that have the ability to move around from the front. And look, nobody, Sean got on the headset and said, hey, Walker's going in at guard. And I'm like, all right, let's go. And we just ran with it. Really proud of him, and also the group for their continuity, the chemistry, the connection that they have. There's a trust level of all those guys that are able to go and help us win and contribute to the team. And so many of them have, right? If you look at that group that started that game, but Walker obviously being a guy that's played so many good snaps for us this year. Wyatt, Jonah, Chuma. You can't have enough offensive linemen, and that was something, the depth part about that group is something we wanted to make sure we had when we got here together as a franchise.
And then last one for me, just on the defensive side of the ball, was noted by a couple of people that it felt like you were rotating those guys in along the defensive line a little bit more. Was that just a basis of altitude, maybe 41 coming off of illness? No, altitude. Danny. Yeah. Okay. The altitude.
Yeah, it was a little bit of keeping the guys fresh and not overwhelming them a little bit early on, especially knowing what some of the teams had done in the fourth quarter, right, against Denver, and what Denver had done to teams in the fourth quarter of games. That was something that we wanted to make sure we were on the fresher side going into the fourth quarter.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
D-Rock, followed by Shipley.
Hey, Liam. we've all kind of made a big deal of Trevor's surge and the offensive surge in the 6-game streak, but the defense has been arguably just as good. What has been sort of, well, first of all, how good has it been, and what has sort of really kind of sparked that?
Yeah, I think, Campy will be the first one to tell you, there was probably too many explosives given up yesterday at times, but we ran and hit. I mean, we played physical. We didn't tackle our best, but we did have some very opportunistic plays. Buster Brown on the double pass, on the reverse pass was a huge play. I think just that group, there's so many guys that have played this season on defense. And I don't mean just like a snap or two here and there, right? Like meaningful snaps, meaningful games. Jarian Jones stepping up again in a huge way. Antonio Johnson continuing to ascend. Guys just keep stepping up. And I think that it's really a testament to the leadership, Foye, Josh, Jordan Lewis, those guys, Eric Murray, Dewey in the back end. We've got some leadership on the defensive side we've had for a while now. And I thought Trayvon played very well yesterday. Matt Dickerson continues to ascend. Smoot made, it's a group of dudes that has one vision. Campy knows what he wants to get with these guys. I think they're very well prepared. Look at Dennis Garda. He just keeps making plays, right? He just keeps fighting his tail off. And, it says a lot. Greg Newsome, like all these guys have made plays. So there's confidence and there's real time played. Like these guys have played in meaningful snaps and meaningful games. And when everybody's in, it's just like, hey, trust the next man up and somebody else is going to make a play. And I think that's huge for depth, for development, and for confidence going into the December and January football.
Seems like the more games you guys win, the angrier the players get. Do you get a sense of that too? And is there a point where they can get too angry?
Nah, I don't know. I hope not. I hope it keeps coming. And look, they understand that we really only truly care about what's going on in our building and each other. It's a group, I mentioned this the other night, that cares about each other. They get along. The players, the staff, the coaches, we all get along pretty well. And yeah, we've gone through some stuff together, but the resilience, the ability to respond each week has been impressive. And I think that they know they're not going to get too much respect in general from the league. And so look, these guys are competitive, right? Like they're competitive against each other and with each other. They're competitive with their peers that play on other teams and around the league. And so I think that's ultimately what fuels them.
One more for me real quick. Do you have a favorite of all the 11 winning post-game locker room celebration speeches? Do you have a favorite of any of them at this point?
Oh, man. Honestly, the first one was it Carolina? Shad, that was cool. To see, Shad pumped up and excited. And but honestly, you really look at, I'll keep going back to Houston. It's a loss, to be honest. Like, post Houston, that was a tough locker room. That was a tough feeling, and that was a really that was gut-wrenching at the time. But I do recall Josh Hines Allen speaking very briefly. I think Eric Armstead said a few things, and then we ended it. Like, I didn't go on and on. We didn't have a lengthy post game. We said a few things. It was from the heart. It was real, but also I think the guys knew in that moment some things needed to change, and we had to operate differently in terms of 60 minutes mindset football game. And so I'll continue to look back to that game as something that has helped us and fueled us moving forward.
Thanks.
Thank you.
John Shipley.
Hey Liam, thanks for doing this. It seemed like Trayvon yesterday had a lot of, production when rushing from inside. Just as an offensive mind, if you had to, kind of plan for a guy like that, what makes him so dangerous there?
Yeah, it's the matchups, right? This is such a matchup league, and you're constantly trying to find different ways of putting your players in positions to be successful. And I thought Trayvon played very well. He played with his hair on fire. He was relentless, made some critical stops for us, both from the end and from inside, rushing on the guards, rushing on the tackles. So, yeah, that's just, more so matchup based and where you're trying to get him one-on-ones. You try to do the same thing with Eric and with Josh and with all those guys to be able to find the way to get to the quarterback and affect the game. And I think Trey had a really nice game. I was very proud of his ability to continue doing this throughout this end of season push, and we're going to need him to continue to do that.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
We have time for just one more quick one. Sam.
Liam, you mentioned a couple minutes ago about how this team likes each other, and you mentioned that in the post game yesterday. And that's an underrated thing when teams go on the road and they hang out together and they get to know each other. Did that happen gradually with this team, or did it happen after San Francisco? You made 3 trips to the West Coast: San Francisco, Arizona, Las Vegas. Yeah. Did you see that grow, or is coming flying home one night? Did you see it happen on the airplane?
Yeah, I think coming back from being out in San Fran, I definitely felt it. When we got there and we were hanging out at the hotel, you got a cool vibe from the players all hanging out together. And then on that flight back, I'll go back and hang out with some of the guys, and we'll talk about the game and laugh and joke and bust chops. And it's usually the quarterback, Trevor and the O-line and a bunch of guys, and I'll go hang out with some of those guys and then come back up front. And but even the other night, everybody was in the meal room watching the Chicago Green Bay game together. Towards the end of that game, the meal room was full of dudes just watching that game, hanging out, getting to know each other more. Robert Hainsey last week had a party at a restaurant downtown Jacksonville, an appreciation party for our support staff in our building. I never heard of many players doing that. It wasn't for coaches, it wasn't for players, it was for the building. And it was open bar, open food, come on over and show our appreciation, show his appreciation, our players' appreciation for the people in this building. So the players are definitely close. The coaches and players and each other are close. But I do believe that this building appreciates one another. And ultimately, when you have everybody going towards the same thing, everybody's got the same goal and vision and understands what the standards are, I think that's when you usually get success.
You've been a player on teams, and of course you've been a coach for a long time too, but that's something special that you got going. That doesn't happen every year.
No, it definitely doesn't. Been very fortunate to be able to be on a lot of really talented football teams and very well coached teams, and this group is definitely a combination of talent, great character, a group of dudes that are trying to prove something every week. That's the fun part about this group is, we've won the last X amount of games in a row, and that's fun, but they continuously want to try to get better. There's intentional work going on when they're out at practice, when we're in the meeting rooms, when we're at the walkthroughs. The guys aren't just kind of getting through the day. I think that's the most fun part about the group is when we're here, when we're in the building together, they are present and they're being where their feet are. And that's all you can really ask, right? Is that you want the staff, the players, the coaches to want to come back in the building every day, right? Work for all of us, no matter what we're doing, it's hard, right? It's work, or else it wouldn't be. So, but you want it to be enjoyable. You want these guys to enjoy coming to work every day and enjoy being around each other. And so, yeah, it's been a fun group to be around so far.